Now, ANC resident political analyst Sfiso Mahlangu joins us here in studio to further unpack this story. Thank you so much for your time.
Good evening, Lesego, and good evening to the viewers who watch us all around the globe.
Yes, and now just explain to us, what is the war room, what is paid Twitter?
Okay, a war room is not necessarily a room or a room in a house, but it can be considered a room or a strategic place or a center where a party or any individuals within a certain movement, organization, whether corporate organization or political organization, get together to strategize, to think of very decisive measurements to topple an opposition. So for instance, you take a well-known cell phone brand, and there's two eminent ones, one of a toy eating an apple. So the young Android would have a war room, and they look at how they can disempower the fruit, which is one of the leading cell phone brands in the world. And they'll sit together and formulate strategies, how to discredit them. This comes with a lot of PR and strategy. It also comes in with a lot of advertising. And so that would be basically a war room. The war room would discover how to disempower people that are against your movement, how to create a lot of gloss for your organization, how to shine, basic publicity stunts. Things that you don't tell people, publicity stunts, not only in the media, but also on social platforms. It would also go in terms of designing a formulative marketing strategy that would come out of the war room. So say for instance, the ANC within its war room would decide we're going to do a campaign like this. It's going to run for 8 weeks. These are the major cities we'd get. We'd book some artists, and this was what they would do. And we'd get some people to, to pronounce us. We'd work with certain station houses. We'd make an X number of T-shirts. So it basically drives a creative or an advertising campaign. But what differs from a war room to a PR company or a PR strategy is that in the war room or in the war room documentation, wherever they have that war room, certain things are not prescribed. There are certain, hidden gems that every organization would use, trade secrets, things that would be offered on a need-to-know basis. And so not everybody would be predestined to such information, only people at the top or people who head up the strategy of that organization. And when we speak of that place that perpetuates the message, that gives out perhaps the propaganda or takes out what the movement will say to the public and to dismiss or to topple the opposition, that place where that strategy comes from is called the war room.
And now let's talk about Mr. Jacobs resigning, as well as getting a 6-month salary payout. What's your reaction on how this agreement was reached between the two parties, the ANC and Mr. Jacobs?
Well, for one, personally, I think it's preposterous that Mr. Jacobs can engage in such, although it is alleged at this stage, and then he can leave with a 6-month salary. This means two things, Lesego. Number one, it means that we'll never really know if Mr. Jacobs participated in sort of unrighteous or unethical activity with a man called Shaka Sisulu to engage in a theme we call paid Twitter. So because Mr. Jacobs has resigned, it means he will not follow the due process, the due disciplinary process within the ANC. So he just goes home, he gets a golden handshake, he'll still be paid for 6 months, but South Africa will never really know if he was in the clear. I believe that he should have waited for the disciplinary hearings or the disciplinary measurements, the internal processes to begin. And if he is in the clear, he would have to prove himself so. But I do also want to admire that this is an internal dispute within an organization and there are internal processes. You usually hear of very large organizations and they release a senior member of staff or an executive, and we would never find out about it because we are not prone to how institutions run internally, particularly at a strategy level or at a management level. We would never know. And we would never even know the policies of discipline that a particular organization would engage with its employees. That is an HR policy that is confidential, and particularly between an organization and the employee and the employer of one organization. So we might not be aware of that information. But I think on a need-to-know basis, and I think we need to know the truth because this is the ruling party, it would have seemed fair for me if Mr. Jacobs had awaited for the internal disciplinary measurements of the ANC, and in order for him to be proven clean or not, and then, the ANC and perhaps opposition parties or individuals of the public can take it from there if there are legal measurements to be applied. Though I also hasten to say that this is not the first time. Penny Sparrow went on Twitter and went viral with some of the most racial attacks on black people I've ever heard. And the party said they were going to recall her and, cancel her DA membership, and not much was done with Penny Sparrow until now. And they will not give you their internal processes. Maybe they sat for a meeting and they reprimanded her, or maybe they said, hey, next time think what you think, but don't put it on Twitter. We would never really know. That would be the leadership of the DA and its senior member, Ms. Penny Sparrow. We'd never know of those engagements. And so many people are saying, but every party has got its own war room, its own strategy, its own challenges. Why do you want to know about the internal disciplinary actions between the African National Congress and Mr. Ignatius Jacobs? I think I want to know because it paints a good picture. We're a constitutional democracy. And I believe that even as people campaign for votes, it should be done ethically. It should be done within the means of the law. And if people want to convince me to vote for them, they should appeal to my sense of righteousness, and they need to do so faithfully. I don't want to be co-opted by slurs and slanders. And in the same way, even besides the ANC, a lot of parties in this country claim their membership by insulting women, claiming this woman had an affair with this man, and so she's not credible. This man had an affair with this. He has so many kids outside of his marriage, and all those things. And I think often that is disrespectful, or I'm not interested in that.
I'm going to have to catch you there, Mr. Matlang. We have run out of time, but thank you so much for coming through and
we'll
just
take it up
us.
on Twitter, though we're not paid to tweet, but the conversation will continue on Twitter.
We will.